Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea Solorzano. For those of you who are new here, we talk all things about manifestation, personal development, and self-growth. So if you like that type of content, then go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into the video. All right, so this video is about appreciating the contrast. So I experienced a terrible thing, some theft that happened to me over the weekend when I was with my mom. And I'm gonna tell you guys a little story, and then I'm gonna tell you about the valuable lesson that I learned in the end. So I went to go visit my mom because my aunt is in town right now. She's in town for her birthday, and she's hanging out at my mom's place, and my mom lives about 3 hours away. So I went to go drive over there, spent the night, and we ended up the next morning, we went to go hiking in Malibu. So Malibu, for those of you who don't know, it is a really nice area. Like, a lot of rich people live there. It's prestigious. It's right next to where we were. It was right next to Pepperdine University, which is it's like a private school. It was a very nice area. So anyways, we went over there, and we went for a hike, and we had a great time. The day was like sunny and beautiful and bright, and we just had a great time. There was a lot of people hiking around there. You know, we parked on the side of the street, like, because there's an area where you can park, but there's also like a parking lot. The parking lot was full. And so basically there's people around, right? So anyways, we go and we have a great time. We come back probably about an hour later, and I'm on a time crunch because I have to make it back to San Diego, since my boyfriend's dad was coming in town. His family was coming into town. So we had to go pick them up from the airport, and then we also had to make dinner reservations, or we had to make it to our dinner reservations. So anyways, I was on a time crunch, and we just got back to our cars. I'm saying bye to my mom. I give a hug to my aunt, and I look over my aunt's shoulder, and I see some glass that's on the ground. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't remember seeing that there before. I walk over to my car, and I notice my window's not there, and my window is completely shattered. So somebody had broke into my car, and they not only just broke my windshield or my window, they also took my purse. And I know what some of you guys are thinking, like, what is your purse doing in your car, that sort of thing. Well, like I said, I was traveling, I was going back to San Diego, and I wasn't gonna take my purse with me. I wasn't taking my purse with me hiking. Anyways, so in that situation, like, my mom, my aunt, they were both freaking out. They were like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this happened. And like, oh my God, who would do this? What the hell? Like, what an asshole. You know, all of these things were coming up, right? And I mean, like I said, like, no one's gonna blame them for feeling that way. Me, on the other hand, I was looking at it from like a manifestation type of like perspective, and I'm just thinking, how did I attract this? Like, what did I do to attract this? Like, I don't know what I did to attract this. Anyways, at the time, like, I couldn't really sit there and think about it because like I said, I was on a time crunch. I had to beat the LA traffic, and I needed to make it back to San Diego at a certain time. So anyways, I was in the car, and I'm still thinking to myself, you know, what did I do to attract this? And I'm having a hard time like coming up with the answer. So whenever I have like a situation where I have a hard time figuring out what the answer, the solution is, I am just like, okay, universe, I give this to you, help support me in this, and I'm gonna let this go. So that's what I did. And while that happened, I am calling my credit card company, and I'm also speaking to my insurance company, all that stuff. I'm getting it all figured out, right? And I'm just like still thinking to myself, like, damn, like, what did I do to attract this? And I'm like, okay, stop thinking about that. And I start reflecting on like how I handled things. And I've thought about it, and I wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like it's so easy to get in a mode where you feel like you have to blame the person that, you know, broke your window or did something to you. But the way that I framed it was I had asked myself, what did I do to attract this? And the reason why I framed it that way is because it's much more empowering for me to believe that I attracted this and I was the deliberate creator that needed to see or needed to experience this situation. So let me explain. As a deliberate creator, you have to believe that everything around you are creating on purpose in order for you to level up in your life. So whatever I did that attracted that caused me to reflect on it and contemplate, like, what did I do? And also react, right? Like, it's not that I thought to myself, oh, like, this is an awesome thing that happened to me. I definitely knew, like, I felt like it sucked, right? Like, it definitely sucked. But it was one of those things where I knew that I had done something, or I had asked for it in some way that I still couldn't figure out just yet, and the solution was going to come for me. And the reason why it came to me was because I am being called to move forward in my life. So it's much more empowering for myself to believe that I was the one that created this situation in order for me to move forward, rather than being somebody who is stressed out about the situation, or frustrated, or angry at the person that did it, or taking the victim stance on it and believing that, you know, or playing the blame game, blaming myself, whatever it is. Like, it's much more empowering for me to believe that, you know, this happened and how can I move forward? And that's, you know, that's it. That's really the basis of it. It's not something that I have to continue to think about and continue to be angry about, because that's not going to be helpful in the situation. That's not going to help me move forward. If anything, it's going to make me more frustrated in the situation. So I hope that makes sense. And let me just grab my notes, because I don't want to have to miss anything that I said. Okay, so the reason why I say that it's essential for these types of things to happen in manifestation, such as like something terrible like your window getting bashed, is because you cannot have the positive without the negative, right? So you can't have the light without the dark. You can't have, like, it's a yin and yang type of thing. Like, you have to have both in order to appreciate the other. So for whatever reason, I attracted that because what I've gathered is I think I attracted that because I was taking something for granted, right? Like, that's the lesson that I felt. I'm not saying that's the same thing that's for you if something like that happened to you. But the lesson that I received from that was I took something for granted, and I needed to pay more attention to detail. And the reason why I say that is because I remember leaving my car, and I had my purse like on my passenger seat, but I had my sun hat on top of it, thinking that, you know, no one's gonna see my purse under my sun hat because it covers it completely. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm in like I'm in like a nice area, like we're hiking, no one's like, I can't even see anybody around other than people that are going to take a hike right now. So I wasn't in that headspace of believing that I would even attract something like that. Anyways, it did happen, and And thinking back on it, I remember when I left my purse, a little bit of the strap, it was probably about like this much of the strap that had been showing like from like underneath my sun hat. And so I'm thinking like, I took that little piece of my purse for granted. Like I took it for granted. I believed I was like I took for granted my stability and stuff within me, rather than putting my purse inside the glove compartment, like, you know, just covering my tracks type of thing, which is what I usually do. I usually put it under my seat, but for some reason I was just like, oh, we're only gonna be gone for an hour, so it's gonna be fine. And I let that go, right? That slipped through my fingers. So what I'm trying to say is that, like I said, I could have reacted in a totally different way, but now I am able to see and appreciate that, you know, even though it sucks, like it did happen and I learned my lesson, and I can see that I took that stuff for granted, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. And I don't think it's worth kind of dwelling on the stuff that you fucked up on. I mean, as long as you like analyzed it and you kind of gathered what you needed from that mistake, and then you own it, and then you move forward, right? Because it doesn't do you any good to just like blame yourself, blame like whatever happened to that person. Like at the end of the day, it seemed like that person needed it way more than me, right? And what's so funny about that situation is that I was telling my boyfriend a week before, it was like a week or two before, and I was telling him, you know, my bag's getting kind of old, like I kind of want to get a new one. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. And you know, I let that go kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself like, God, universe, like really? You had to do me like that? But at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. And you know, something better is gonna come from it, right? And that's the beauty, and that's the power of a positive mindset, that even though you may be in a, you know, not ideal or inconvenient situation, you can see the positive out of it and still move forward. Because I think that's what happens when you have like the negative mindset, is you don't allow yourself to move forward from that situation, and then you can't really get out of that. You feel stuck. But now I'm like, okay, like I learned something from that, so I can move forward now, right? I hope that makes sense. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, I wanted to say that from those situations, like those challenging situations, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen. You're going to have these challenging situations in the future. From those challenging situations, if you want to try to find a positive out of the situation, you're gonna want to like joke about it in some way. So when that happened to me, the way that I reacted was like, I was asking myself like, how did I track this? But then what I had said to like my aunt and my mom, I was like, okay, well, it's just class, so like I'll figure it out, you know? And it was just like kind of funny, because I know it took them off guard, but it was like one of those things where it's like I'm portraying, or I'm inspiring like lightheartedness about the situation. And it's powerful, right? People are inspired by people who are positive. And so because that's magnetizing, that's like something that people can take with them and put that in their pocket and know for next time, to not take things so seriously. Which is why I say, if you're in like a crappy situation like that, then make a joke about it and then move forward and stuff, because it allows the universe and lets the universe know that you don't want to stay stuck there. And like you're telling the universe that you're ready for something new, whatever, like the solution, whatever it is. This might not be something this might not be the same thing for you, in case like you went through some sort of like theft or something like that. But I realized on my drive over to LA, I was doing some reflecting and stuff, and I was talking to Universe, and I said, Universe, can you show me and make it obvious, please, like my shortcomings? And I always tell the universe, like if I have a question about something, I always ask, can you please make it obvious? Because I'm kind of dumb and sometimes I don't notice things. And lo and behold, like, you know, when I get to LA, I'm having these like really deep conversations with my aunt and my mom and stuff. And then we go on this hike and that happened. And I was like, okay, I see now that I am not paying attention to detail. I am ignoring parts of myself. So I just wanted to say, like, in case you are kind of going through a similar situation where you're going through a challenge or you're not going through a challenge, ask the universe, like, please show me my shortcomings. Like, please show me like my limiting beliefs so I can find the root of it and move forward, so I can learn from it and move forward. Because the thing is like, you can easily manifest from a point of attraction where you're in this like positive mindset and stuff, but your patterns, your habits are still within you, and sometimes they're unconscious. So you have to ask for support in order to learn from it and grow from it and move forward. So like I said, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I really wanted to send out that message to you guys, and I wanted to let you guys know that you are loved and you are supported, and I hope you have a wonderful day and keep things light and easy and fun, and happy manifesting.